I'm Amelia and I like to sew. Today I'm going to share with you the second part of my pink and red party outfit. If you haven't seen the first part, I'll put a link below, which is all about my inspiration and toiling the patterns, things like that. Today I'm going to talk about the fabrics I chose, the patterns I'm using, although you already know one of them if you've watched the first part, and the construction, and then at the end I'll show you the finished outfit, hopefully, if I get it finished in time. Okay, so I ordered some samples from Fabric Godmother of various tensile twills because I thought they would be quite a nice fabric for some sort of floaty trousers, and also with something with more body underlining the jacket it would be okay. So for the pink part I ordered the two colourways, so I got cerise and rose. I just immediately didn't like the rose. It's a bit dull. It looks a bit grey. It looks like, you know, you've got white things that have been through the washing machine too much and they go that kind of weird chewing gum grey beige colour. So yeah, I've immediately discounted that. So we've got this obnoxiously bright pink, and then I ordered the blue and the green. And actually I thought I would like the green, but this particular shade of green wasn't quite as bright as it looked like it would be on the website, so I just don't think it works. Whereas the blue, I think they kind of tonally work, so I think that's what I'm going to go with. Blue trousers and a pink jacket.
Is there anything more exciting than a fabric delivery? Not the most exciting possibly, but I ordered some more interfacing as I was running really low. This is some spotty cotton with a little stretch, which I decided on for the linings of the jacket and probably the pockets of the trousers. It probably isn't really slippery enough to be the perfect lining, but it will give the tensile twill some much needed body. Next we've got the bright blue tensile twill. It really is an amazing colour. And finally, the pink part of the outfit, which is why we're all here. I do love these obnoxious shades of pink. I'm so excited to get started on this now I can see the fabrics together. I did, of course, pre-wash all three fabrics. Cutting out time! I failed to actually film myself doing any cutting out. Bad YouTuber. It's so satisfying to have all your pieces cut out and ready to sew. Not gonna lie, I'm really pretty pleased with my choice of lining. It occurs to me that I didn't tell you which trouser pattern I was using. I'm using the Dawn Jeans by Megan Nielsen, as I've made it, I think, 4 times so far, so I know what to expect. The first thing I did was to interface all the things! There is a lot of interfacing on a jacket if you haven't made one before. I discovered doing this project that tensile twill is very shifty. I often don't take enough time over cutting out, and this was no exception. Don't judge me. So some of my pieces were not quite the shapes that they should have been. Oh well, you live and learn. Or not in my case. I also had real problems getting the interfacing to stick. I don't know if this is a common problem with tensile, or I was just too scared to heat it enough to melt the glue, as the fabric had a tendency to mark when heated with the iron, as you can see here. It did fade, but I'm not sure if it went completely, so I was cautious with the iron. Time to get sewing! The front sides get stitched to the fronts. Then the 2 back pieces get stitched together. Then the back sides get sewn to the centre back pieces. Then the side seams and shoulders are sewn. One thing I have realised with all my years of sewing is how important pressing and ironing are to get a good finish in sewing. It used to be something I found annoying and I felt held up the sewing, but it's all part of making the best garment you can make. The curved seams are clipped and pressed open, as are all the other seams. I used my tailor's ham to help shape the fabric with the heat from the iron. In my humble opinion, the trickiest part of this jacket is setting in the sleeves. Last time I made it, I was in such a hurry I didn't bother with marking the notches on the pieces. This is a big mistake with a two-piece sleeve. With a one-piece sleeve, generally the underarm seam on the sleeve meets the side seam of the garment and you can line it up that way. This is not the case with a two-piece sleeve. Mark your notches, people! I like to pin all the parts that fit without easing, then I pin the sleeve at the shoulder and gather/ease on either side of the shoulder seam until I get a good smooth finish. I have found the key to stitching on a sleeve is to feel underneath while you sew, slowly, to make sure there are no puckers underneath. There will usually be one or two even so, but you can always unpick and resew those bits. The other tricky part of this make is the collar and lapels, but I have to say the instructions for the Joe jacket are good, so if you're thinking of giving it a go, I think you'll be fine. I didn't film much of the collar process, but I did show myself notching the collar here to allow it to sit flat when turned the right way. By this point, I was using a sort of pressing cloth. I know they're supposed to be organza or something, but I didn't have any, so I used this scrap of cotton from a pair of pyjamas. Is there anything more satisfying than getting a good press on a collar so it looks all sharp? One neat trick I like with jackets, and I suppose coat making, is to go to the inside once you've stitched the collar on and attached the lapels and facing, and you find the two seam allowances and sew them together to prevent everything shifting so much and to give everything more stability. You just need to make sure you don't catch anything else when you're stitching, it's just the seam allowances you want. Next was to repeat a bunch of the steps from the jacket shell for the lining, but most of the trickier things aren't done on the lining, apart from the sleeves. Ugh. I immediately look so uncoordinated when I'm pinning on camera. I guess you don't normally watch yourself doing these things, so maybe I'm always that uncoordinated. Next I prepared the pockets. I used the patch pocket pattern from the Home Tone coat by Marilla Walker. In retrospect they were maybe a little wide, but I'm not about to take apart the jacket to change the pockets. I interfaced the tensile layer. I then laid the lining on top with right sides together and pinned them around 3 sides. The top edge needs to be open so you can turn it the right way around. I clipped off the corners so they'll be sharp when the pockets are turned right side out. Ta-da! A finished pocket. I did press them, by the way. To finish the top edge, I decided to tuck the raw edges inside and top stitch it down. It will match the other sides when they're top stitched onto the jacket. Here I put on the jacket to plan roughly where I wanted the pockets to go. Excuse the messy sewing space. I decided to see if they felt like they were in a comfortable place to put my hands in, lol. But it kind of worked because they felt a bit high. My neutral thinking face makes me look so sad. I took off the jacket and measured where the pockets were from my rough pinning. I decided to move them a little higher again to make sure they are well out of the way of the hem. I marked a point 10 centimeters up and used the side seam to center the pockets, lining up their center lines with the seam. Obviously, I did pin them in place ready for sewing. It's a lot of awkward fabric to wrangle into your machine to sew the pockets on. Almost the last thing to do was to attach the lining to the shell. I finished the hems on the sleeves and most of the bottom hem on the machine, but I've never been able to get the bottoms of lapels to be neatly sewn on the machine, so I decided to hand stitch those bits closed. The strap was a strip of fabric 10 centimeters wide, which includes a 1 centimeter seam allowance, and the whole width of the fabric long. I folded it in half lengthways and stitched the edges together, right sides together. I interfaced the whole thing to make sure it had a bit of strength. Then I used a safety pin to turn it the right way around. I ironed the strap flat with the seam down the centre of one side, but I thought it maybe wouldn't stay like that, so I decided to top stitch both long edges, having already top stitched the short ends down to tuck in the raw edges. Now I'm going to make the trousers. This video is already super long, so I won't spend as long on them as I did on the jacket. First is to make the fly. I did a zip fly using Megan Nielsen's tutorial for the Ash jeans, which works for the Dawn jeans too. I then did the front pockets and the back pockets, which I had interfaced. So these are the trousers. This isn't the best angle, is it? It's the Dawn jeans pattern, as I've already mentioned. I've sewn everything. Oh, the top stitching is not great there, but never mind. I've got the pockets and the yoke and everything. And in the past, I've taken out 2.5 extra centimeters from the back seam. But I found that although all my pairs fit fine when I'm standing up, because I fitted them standing up, then they're a bit too tight sitting down. And I sort of pinned the side seams together last night, too late to start filming, and they seemed really, really snug. So I've just sewn the side seams with a 1 centimeter seam allowance instead of 1.5, and I think that that's fine. I don't really know why. I guess patterns change
depending on the fabric that you use, and I suppose there's not really any give in this fabric, but I think they fit okay. Yeah, there's a little tiny bag there, but as I say, I think I'm going to leave it so that I can sit down more comfortably in these. Cool. Also, don't at me, I know you're not supposed to try on jeans, trousers without the waistband on because you can stretch them out, but I'm not gonna sew on the waistband before I try them on, so there we go, cool. Just need to overlock the side seams, put the waistband on. So here's my finished outfit. I'll do a different shot to show you the trousers, but I have to say I'm loving the colour combination and the jacket. I really think I might wear this quite a lot, maybe when it's a bit warmer and it hasn't been in minus figures for a whole week like it has been this week. But yeah, ta-da! It turned out pretty much like I expected / hoped. I think it's pretty similar to the original, apart from the fact that it's not velvet and it's tensile twill instead. But yeah, pink party, here I come. I do like the little peak of polka dots on the inside of the pockets, which I added. And obviously, I do love a spotty lining to things. Does need a little bit of finagling to get it to sit right. I've never used tensile twill before, so maybe that's a feature of tensile that it presses okay, but it's a very soft sort of floopy fabric, so it's not like a crisp cotton or a wool where you can really shape it with the iron and it will stay like that. But I don't think that's too bad because it is a relaxed fit of a jacket. I'm impressed that the hem is sitting relatively straight. I was a bit worried when I first put it on that it wasn't going to happen. But yeah. Ta-da! So I've taken the jacket off to give you more of a view of the trousers. You have to get really far away from the camera before you can see the whole of trousers. But yeah, these are the Dawn jeans, which I've made 4 or 5 times before. I made the size 4 as I've made with all the other sizes. I didn't do all of the top stitching because I wanted them to be more like sort of relaxed summer trousers than proper jeans. Though I did do the top stitching everywhere where I felt like it would get wear, so I did it on the pockets, the crotch seam, this, what's that called, the fly, and the pockets. I did that thing. Yeah, I mean this fabric shows up every single little wrinkle possible, so I think that's probably my top and my pants underneath. I think these will definitely be great summer trousers because they're nice and loose and flowy. I didn't take them in quite as much on the waist as I did with all my other Dawn jeans because they end up a little bit snug on the waist when I'm sitting down all day. And I thought for summer trousers you don't want them too fitted. Yeah, the only problem is they really do show absolutely everything. So this is the bottom of the pocket here that you can see, but meh, it's fine. Yeah, that's the top wrinkling underneath. Yeah. Oh, I left off the coin pocket because I didn't want them to look super like jeans. I did consider leaving off the yoke and just sort of basically attaching the 2 pieces together, but actually in the end I'm quite glad I left that on because the back does look, they do look kind of like jeans, so I don't think it's terrible to have those details. So yeah, there we go.